Dad, get out. You're fired, my son Trevor barked, his eyes glittering with cold contempt. For 11 years, I had built his company, sacrificing everything, and he had thrown me out like garbage over a petty argument. I silently packed my things, but a plan was already ripening in my mind. There was a document in his safe, the key to his dirty secrets. Thursday would be fun. I won't just leave. I will destroy everything he stole from me. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you are listening in the comments. The conference room buzzed with tension, the projectors hum a faint drone beneath Trevor's voice. You're stuck in the past, Dad, he snapped, his Rolex ticking sharply as he jabbed a finger at me. Papers littered the table, some stamped, confidential. I sat rigid, my knuckles pale around a folder. 11 years of my life built BrightPath Solutions, and now my son was tearing it down. Lisa leaned back, her earrings glinting like tiny daggers. Henry, your audits are slowing us down, she said, her tone smooth but venomous. We need agility, not nostalgia. Colleagues shifted uncomfortably, their eyes darting to the floor. I felt the weight of their silence, a room full of people I'd mentored, now frozen. You're fired. Trevor's words sliced through the air. His eyes, cold and unyielding, held no trace of the boy I'd raised. A gasp rippled through the room, but no one spoke. I stood slowly, my chair scraping the floor. The folder trembled in my grip. Fired? I said, my voice low but steady. You forget who built this company, Trevor. He smirked, tossing my folder onto the table. Papers fluttered like broken wings. Progress doesn't care about your sacrifices, old man. Lisa's lips curled, a silent agreement. I turned, my steps deliberate, and walked out. The glass walls reflected my shadow, a ghost in a place I'd made. In the hallway, eyes avoided mine. My office door stood ajar, a sanctuary now violated. On my desk, Ellen's photo watched me, her smile a reminder of better days. I slipped it into my pocket, leaving awards and trinkets behind. My hand brushed a folder marked, confidential, on Lisa's desk as I passed. A spark flickered in my mind. Trevor's voice echoed from the conference room. Now we're free, he muttered to Lisa. Free from what? Me? The truth? I stepped into the elevator, the steel doors closing with a soft ding. My reflection stared back, Ellen's photo warm against my chest. He thought he'd won. But I knew where the truth hid, in his safe, behind that gaudy painting. Thursday would be interesting. My office smelled of old coffee and paper, a time capsule of my life's work. I stood alone, Ellen's photo in my pocket, its edges worn from years of touch. The desk bore a faint crack, a scar from the day we signed our first big deal. I was 35 then, same age as Trevor now. Back when he'd run to me, proud of his dad, not plotting to erase me. I packed slowly. Awards clinked into a cardboard box, plaques for innovation, growth, trust. One caught my eye, a joint award with Trevor, 5 years ago. His grin had been genuine then. I left it on the desk. The past couldn't save me now. My hands moved mechanically, folding years into a box. A drawer creaked open, revealing a letter from Ellen. You're stronger than you think, she'd written. I swallowed hard, tucking it away. The company had been my sacrifice, nights away from her, from Trevor. For what? So he could spit in my face. The hallway whispered as I left. Colleagues glanced away, their pity sharper than Trevor's scorn. At the security desk, old Mike hesitated. Henry, I'm sorry. Don't, I said, managing a nod. His eyes held respect, a faint comfort. Outside, Chicago's rain greeted me, soaking the box. The city roared, horns, footsteps, life moving on. My coat clung to me, heavy with water, but I kept walking. The box sagged, but Ellen's photo stayed safe in my pocket. I tossed my office key into a trash can, the metal clanging against wet garbage. A final goodbye. In my car, the leather seats smelled of memory. I sat, rain drumming the roof, and thought of a deal last year, Trevor's nervous laugh when I questioned a client's numbers. He'd brushed it off, but I'd seen the report later, tucked in his safe. A single page, damning enough to ruin him. The engine growled to life. My hands gripped the wheel, knuckles white. That document was my chance. Trevor thought he'd buried me, but I wasn't done. Not yet. Rain tapped the windows of my suburban home, a steady rhythm against the quiet. I sat at the kitchen table, Ellen's photo propped before me. Her eyes seemed to follow mine, urging me forward. The house creaked, old wood, old memories. A photo of us three hung on the wall, me, Ellen, Trevor at 10, laughing at a fair. That boy was gone. A month ago, I'd stood in Trevor's office. He'd been rifling through papers, his face tight when I entered. Behind that ugly painting, a safe. Inside, a report, its numbers screaming fraud. Tax evasion, maybe worse. He'd slammed the safe shut, but not before I saw. That document was my weapon now. I paced the living room, floorboards groaning. My office key, I'd lied about tossing it. It had to be here. Drawers rattled as I searched, spilling pens, receipts, Ellen's old scarf. In a box of her things, I found it, rusted, tagged with a faded, bright path. I set it beside Ellen's photo, a vow taking shape. At the table, I scribbled names, contacts who'd help. A journalist I trusted, a lawyer who owed me. My phone buzzed as I dialed the lawyer, Tom. "Henry, you okay?" he asked, voice gruff. "I'm fine," I lied. "Need advice?" "Trevor's hiding something. Financial." A pause. "Be careful. He's not the kid you raised." Tom's warning hung heavy as I hung up. Was I ready to destroy my son? The question gnawed, but Ellen's face steadied me. She'd want justice, not mercy. I pictured the safe, its combination a puzzle I'd solve. The document inside held Trevor's secrets, and Lisa's too, no doubt. My coffee cup tipped, brown liquid pooling on the table. A mess, like what was coming. I grabbed my coat, the key cold in my palm. Tonight, I'd take back what was mine. The back door of BrightPath Solutions loomed before me, its metal frame slick with the night's earlier rain. My old key felt heavy, its rusted edge biting into my palm. I glanced at the alley, empty, save for a stray cat darting past. Trevor's safe flashed in my mind, that report hidden behind his tacky painting. I'd seen him shove it there, his hands shaky, a month ago. Tonight, I'd take it back. The key turned with a reluctant groan. I froze, the hinges squeaked loud in the silence. No alarms. No footsteps. I slipped inside, the corridor dark, lit only by flickering exit signs. My shoes whispered on the tile, each step a gamble. Cameras blinked above, but I knew their blind spots. Years of walking these halls taught me that. Trevor's office was at the end, its door a slab of polished wood. My heart thudded, but my hands stayed steady. Inside, the room smelled of his cologne, sharp and smug. The painting, a gaudy abstract, hung above his desk. I eased it off the wall, wincing as the frame grazed the floor. The safe stared back, its dial cold under my fingers. I tried Trevor's birthday, the irony bitter. Click. It opened. The report lay inside, a thin stack of papers, numbers screaming fraud. Tax evasion, offshore accounts, enough to bury him. A photo of Trevor and Lisa slipped out, their smiles smug. My jaw tightened. I stuffed the report in my jacket. Then, footsteps. Heavy, deliberate. En garde. I dove under the desk, my knees scraping the carpet. The door creaked open. A flashlight's beam swept the room, grazing the painting now leaning against the wall. "All clear," the guard muttered into his radio. My breath caught, Ellen's photo pressing against my chest. "This is for you," I whispered. The guard left. I waited, counting seconds, then slipped out, the reporter weighed against my ribs. Outside, the air was sharp. I hurried down the alley, but a car's engine purred nearby, its headlights slicing the dark. Too slow to be random. My pulse spiked. I tucked the report deeper and vanished into the night. My kitchen table was a battlefield, the report spread before me like a map to Trevor's ruin. Coffee steamed in a chipped mug, its bitterness grounding me. Ellen's photo sat nearby. Her eyes steady. "Be smarter, not louder," she'd said once. I smiled. That was my plan, cold, precise, devastating. The report's numbers told a story, fake invoices, hidden accounts, Lisa's signature on every page. Trevor was the face, but she was the brain. I traced a line with my finger, anger simmering. 11 years of my sweat, and they turned it into a lie. Not anymore. I scanned the pages, making a copy on my old printer, its hum a quiet ally. The original went into my home safe, a squat box hidden in the closet. Ironic, locking their secrets in a safe like Trevor's. My pen scratched a list: journalist, lawyer, proof. No details yet, just steps to keep me moving. I dialed Mark, a reporter I'd known for years. "Got something big," I said, keeping my voice low. "Off the record." "Henry?" His tone was wary. "This about Brightpath?" "Trevor's been dodging me." "You'll see. Check your Dropbox tomorrow." I hung up, my hands steady but my mind racing. Could I trust him? Did I have a choice? The house creaked, its warmth a contrast to the storm in my head. Ellen's photo watched me, her smile a reminder of why I fought. I locked the safe, whispering, "Your move's over, Trevor." My plan was taking shape, each piece a step toward justice. A knock at the door jolted me. 3 sharp raps, too late for neighbors. I hid the copy under a newspaper, grabbed the key from the table. My pulse quickened. I stepped toward the door, the floorboards groaning under my weight. The cafe buzzed with morning chatter, the air thick with coffee and steam. I sat in a corner booth, the report's copy hidden in a plain envelope. Mark slid in across from me, his notebook worn, his eyes sharp. "This better be good, Henry," he said, tapping his pen. I pushed the envelope forward. "Read it." "No names yet." My voice was calm, but my hands twitched. Ellen's photo in my wallet felt like a talisman. Mark skimmed the pages, his brow furrowing. "This is explosive. Brightpath is done if this leaks. Will you dig?" I asked, leaning back. He nodded. "Give me a week." I stood, leaving the envelope. Outside, Chicago's streets thrummed, horns, footsteps, life. For the first time in days, I felt alive. Trevor's laugh echoed in my memory, mocking me as he fired me. Not anymore. Miles away, Trevor's office was chaos. Papers littered his glass desk, a cracked phone screen glinting under the light. Lisa paced, her heels clicking. Someone talked, she hissed, clutching her phone. My contact says a reporter's sniffing around. Trevor slammed a fist on the desk, a glass tumbling to the floor. "You said the report was secure." His voice cracked, panic seeping through. "I did my part," Lisa snapped, her eyes narrowing. "Maybe your old man wasn't as clueless as you thought." She swept the glass shards into a bin, her movements sharp. Trevor froze, his face pale. I drove home, unaware of their panic, checking my phone for Mark's confirmation. The city blurred past, its energy fueling me. I'd struck first, and it felt good. But my phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number: "You made a mistake. My grip tightened, the screen's glow harsh in the dim car. The cafe hummed with morning noise, clinking cups, the hiss of the espresso machine. I sat in a shadowed corner, a plain envelope in my hands, its weight more than paper. Ed Marshall, the journalist, slid into the booth, his coat damp from Chicago's drizzle. "This better be worth my time, Henry," he said, his voice low, eyes scanning me. I slid the envelope across the sticky table. No names. Just read. My tone was even, but my fingers brushed Ellen's photo in my wallet for luck. Ed opened it, skimming the report's damning numbers. His pen stopped tapping. "Bright Path is cooked if this is real," he muttered. "Who's your source?" "You don't need that yet," I said, leaning back. "Dig. You'll find more." He nodded, tucking the envelope away. I left, the cafe's warmth fading as I stepped into the city's pulse. Horns blared, pedestrians rushed. For the first time since Trevor's betrayal, I felt the scales tip my way. His sneer, calling me a relic, burned in my memory. Not today. In Trevor's office, chaos reigned. Lisa stood by the window. Her phone pressed to her ear. "A reporter's got something," she snapped, her bracelet glinting as she turned. "Numbers. Our numbers." Trevor paced, papers scattering across his desk. A coffee mug teetered, unheeded. "You swore that safe was secure," he shouted, his voice cracking. Lisa's eyes narrowed, cold as the glass walls around them. "Don't pin this on me. Your father was poking around, wasn't he?" Trevor froze, his face paling. He yanked open the safe, finding only dust where the report had been. I drove home, oblivious to their panic, checking my rearview for tails. The city's rhythm fueled me, my first strike had landed. Ellen's photo, tucked close, felt like her nod of approval. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number, "You're playing a dangerous game." My hands tightened on the wheel, the road ahead blurring. Trevor's office reeked of desperation, the air heavy with his cologne and Lisa's perfume. The safe gaped open, empty. "It's gone," Trevor whispered, his hands trembling as he slammed the door shut. Lisa leaned against the desk, her nails tapping a sharp rhythm. "We need to find who did this. Now." She dialed a number, her voice icy. "Vaughn, it's me. Someone stole from us. I want names." The private detective on the line grunted agreement. "Start with Henry Collins," Lisa added, glancing at Trevor. "He's not as broken as you think." Trevor's jaw clenched, a vein pulsing at his temple. In my suburban home, the quiet was a fragile shield. I sat in the living room, the TV muted, news ticker hinting at Bright Path's troubles. My fingers traced the edges of Ellen's old book, where I'd hidden the original report. Its leather cover smelled of time, grounding me. I'd struck hard, but the text from last night, "Dangerous game," gnawed at me. The phone rang, shattering the stillness. Trevor's name flashed on the screen. I answered, my voice steady. "What do you want? You know something, don't you?" His tone was low, venomous. "Don't play dumb, Dad." I pictured his eyes, the same ones that once looked up to me. "You're paranoid, Trevor," I said, hanging up. My pulse raced. Had he guessed? Outside, the neighborhood slept, but I checked the door's lock, the key cold in my hand. Trevor's call wasn't a bluff, he was hunting. I placed Ellen's book beside her photo, whispering, "I won't stop." The floorboards creaked, and I froze. A shadow flickered past the window, too quick to be a neighbor. My hand found the light switch, plunging the room into dark. The lawyer's office smelled of ink and old wood, its shelves heavy with legal tomes. I sat across from Clara, my old friend turned attorney, a stack of Ellen's letters between us. "These prove I founded Bright Path," I said, my voice firm. "Trevor stole my share." Clara's eyes widened as she read, Ellen's precise handwriting detailing our early days, her signature a legal anchor. She told me to keep them, I said, a memory surfacing, Ellen's voice, calm but insistent, just in case. Clara nodded, her pen scratching notes. We can file a suit. It's solid, Henry, but risky. Trevor won't go quietly. I touched Ellen's photo in my pocket, her strength steadying me. Risk was worth it. In the courthouse, the air was thick with murmurs and the squeak of chairs. I stood, suit crisp, as Clara presented our case. Trevor sat across the room, his face a mask of fury. Lisa whispered to him, her eyes darting to me. The judge's gavel fell, demanding proof. Mr. Collins, he said to Trevor, your response. He's lying. Trevor spat, his voice echoing. The room stilled. Clara held up Ellen's letters, their weight silencing him. Lisa's hand gripped his arm, her whisper sharp, we're done. I watched, my heart steady but heavy. This was justice, but it hurt. The hearing ended, reporters buzzing like flies. In the corridor, Trevor cornered me, his breath hot. You'll regret this, he hissed, eyes blazing. I met his gaze, unflinching. You started this, son. I walked away, the echo of my steps drowned by footsteps behind me, too close, too deliberate. My hand tightened on my car keys, the metal biting my palm. The park was quiet, its paths strewn with damp autumn leaves that crunched under my boots. I sat on a weathered bench, the cold wood seeping through my coat. Trevor had called, insisting we meet here, his voice tight with something I hadn't heard before, fear. Ellen's photo rested in my pocket, her presence steadying me. A memory flickered, Trevor at 6, clutching my hand, promising he'd never let me down. They arrived together, Trevor's face drawn, Lisa's eyes sharp but unsteady. He sat across from me, his hands twisting the cuff of his expensive shirt. Dad, he started, his voice low, stop this. The lawsuit, the investigation, call it off. Lisa leaned forward, her bracelet glinting in the gray light. We'll cut you in. Money, shares, whatever you want. I stared at him, my son, now a stranger. You think I'd sell my dignity? My words were calm, but they cut. Trevor flinched, his jaw tight. I made mistakes, he said, softer now, but we're family. Remember when we built that model plane? You and me. Lisa's lips curled. Don't be stubborn, Henry. Push this further, and it'll get messy. Her threat hung in the air, but her voice cracked, betraying her. I stood, my shadow long across the grass. You stole my life, Trevor. Now you pay. I walked away, their pleas fading behind me. At home, the house wrapped me in its familiar creak and warmth. Ellen's letters lay on the kitchen table, their ink a map of my fight. I traced her handwriting, each word a vow. The lawsuit was tomorrow, my final strike. Trevor's begging echoed, but I pushed it down. He wasn't my boy anymore. My phone buzzed, a text from my lawyer, court tomorrow. Be ready. I set the letters aside, my fingers brushing the key on the table. A noise outside, low, like footsteps on gravel, made me pause. I stepped to the window, the curtain heavy in my hand. The courtroom buzzed, a hive of whispers and shifting chairs. I sat in the front row, Ellen's letters in my briefcase, their weight anchoring me. The judge's voice cut through the noise, steady and final. Brightpath Solutions is restored to Henry Collins. Trevor Collins and Lisa Wilson are found guilty of fraud. The gavel fell, sharp as a blade. Trevor's face drained of color, his tie askew. Lisa gripped her purse, her knuckles white, her eyes darting to the exit. Reporters scribbled furiously, their cameras flashing. The news had broken, Ed's investigation, fueled by my report, laid their schemes bare. Ellen's words echoed in my mind, truth always wins. She was right. Handcuffs clicked as officers approached. Trevor's shout, this is a lie. bounced off the marble walls, but it was hollow. Lisa's head bowed, her defiance crumbling. I watched, my heart steady but heavy. Justice, not joy, filled me. An old colleague in the crowd met my eyes, her nod a quiet salute. Outside, Chicago's streets were cold, the wind carrying the scent of wet asphalt. Reporters swarmed, their questions a blur. I pushed past, my coat flapping, and reached my car. The radio hummed with news, Brightpath was bankrupt, its glass tower now a husk. I exhaled, the weight of years lifting, but not gone. I glanced at Ellen's photo, tucked in my wallet. Almost done, I whispered. Her smile held me together. My phone rang, the screen glowing with an unknown number. I hesitated, my thumb hovering over the answer button, the city's pulse loud around me. The cemetery was still, its air heavy with the scent of earth and fading flowers. I stood before Ellen's grave, her photo in my hand, its edges soft from years of touch. The stone was cool under my fingers as I spoke. It's over, love. The company's mine again. Trevor and Lisa, they're done. A breeze stirred the leaves, her answer in the silence. I'd chosen justice, not forgiveness, just as she'd taught me to stand tall. A memory surfaced, Ellen laughing as we danced in our old kitchen, her voice promising we'd face anything together. I'd kept that promise. The lawsuit, the report, her letters, they'd brought truth to light. I knelt, planting a small flower by her stone, its roots a new beginning. At home, the house welcomed me with its familiar creak. Ellen's letters rested on the table, their work done. I wouldn't rebuild Brightpath. Its assets would go to charity, schools, shelters. Places that mattered. My lawyer called, confirming the transfer. You're free, Henry, he said. I smiled, sinking into my armchair, its leather warm. The fight had changed me, but peace settled now, soft as evening light. I placed Ellen's photo on the mantel, her eyes bright. My phone buzzed, a letter in the mail from an old friend, offering a new project. I left it unopened, the envelope catching the sunset's glow. Outside, the world hummed, but I was still, my hand resting on the key that had unlocked so much. If you liked this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.